Good morning. Happy Sunday. It's my second and final weekend here. I'm done on Wednesday, so including today, there's only 4 more of these. It's amazing. I wrote a blog post last night that I hope you will take some time to read, because I've been doing some thinking about this sort of self-help world I've kind of jumped into, which for most of my life I was so unbelievably dismissive of. Let's go to the sun and I'll talk to you a little bit. Actually, it's kind of a weird sunrise. It's in the wrong spot, so I'm not sure what's happening. It's pretty, but it's way over there instead of kind of directly in front of me. So we'll see what occurs. Anyway, I have some people in my life who are in or who have left but not completely abandoned difficult relationships. And you can define difficult however you want. It's a variety of challenges. Some I know, some I don't. And I know that some of what Dr. Mary and I have talked about in these weeks and months has made at least a couple of these people question whether or not they should give their partner another chance, or if they should stay, or if they should, try to work it out. And I think it's really important that I be super clear that I am talking from one experience, one instance of one experience with one person. I don't believe that we are the norm. I think we are the exception, although I am meeting more and more couples who are figuring out how to stay together through really hard addiction and sobriety struggles. So I don't want to be stupid and say, oh, no other couples have made it. I can think of 3 or 4 right off the top of my head. So, we're only speaking about us from us as we have experienced it. I hope that it is useful to people. I believe that it is. Certainly people are telling us that it is. But the same is true for all this other work that I'm doing. I am just one person with one lived experience that's evolving as I go, as we all are. And I suppose what is happening to me is that imposter syndrome is setting in. I suppose that I'm starting to get nervous that someone's going to call me on this path I've taken and say, well, are you a therapist? Are you a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a counselor? Do you have any expertise in anything? And my answer to all of that is no. I have none of it except for what I have lived. So I'm feeling a little bit awkward this morning, and it's interesting to me that the sunrise is also awkward this morning. It's not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be here. That's where I've been shooting from. See the tree? And it's way over here. And it's not really growing. The sun is just sort of here. That's a little bit awkward. And it's exactly how I feel today. So this blog post that I wrote last night sums up an experience that Dr. Mary and I had yesterday. Friday was our 19th anniversary of meeting, so he came to my new little house. We had a really, really lovely Friday afternoon, Friday evening, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon. And then we decided to do a meditation exercise together. And I don't need to tell you all of this. I'll put a link to the blog and you can read it for yourselves. But the first half of that conversation went really, really well. And then the second half, which had nothing to do with the meditation prompt, was just started by me. The second half went really, really poorly because it was a money conversation. And I don't care how great your relationship is. I don't care how many pitfalls you've avoided. Money conversations are fraught with difficulty. Because guess what? We all have beliefs and philosophies around money, and they are not always compatible. So we had a difficult conversation. And what was maybe most interesting about it is that in a lot of ways, it was a conversation like we could have had years ago. Because we always fought about money. Always. And yesterday was kind of the first moment where we employed, let me move this so you can get a new view, because that's pretty stunning. Yesterday, we employed what we're always asking our listeners to employ. We employed this idea of take the first step. So the conversation was going great. I took it one step further, like we all do, not expecting it to turn into something, but it did. And Dr. Mary and I have a history of bad money conversations. Bad. Hard, fighting, screaming, storming, stomping out money conversations. But yesterday, we just stuck with it. And we didn't discuss this, it just happened. But we created a new way to talk about money. Not a conflict-free way, not a easy peasy, I got my way, you got your way conversation. We didn't even actually settle on anything. We agreed to table it for 7 months. No, 9 months. I'm sorry, 9 months. We've tabled this conversation for 9 months. And I have to say, I don't think we could have had the conversation we had yesterday. It couldn't have gone as well as it did if we hadn't been doing this work that we've been doing with many of you. This idea of encouraging people to try to have judgment-free conversations, to try to take a deep breath, to try to extend grace to the other person, to try to give yourself some credit for the work that you are doing and how hard it is for you. And then to just take one small step. Yesterday could have turned into a typical, we have to eat the entire financial elephant conversation. We must solve all financial questions and situations today before you get in the car and drive home. But we didn't do that. We took the first step, which led us to the next step, which turned into a 2-hour conversation that really often wasn't all that pleasant. But we did it. We did it. We stayed with it. Nobody's voice raised. Nobody stormed off from the table. Nobody said anything hurtful. We didn't end the conversation having to apologize to each other. We ended the conversation having reached a place of agreement that our best solution was to say, we will come at this again in 9 months when we know some more data. So not every piece of life is easy and effortless. And not every piece of our life and our lives together has been magically fixed because Maz got sober. Believe me, it's made an enormous difference, because you can't have a rational conversation with an irrational person. It's like the mothers who valiantly try to get the 2-year-old on the grocery store floor who's screaming its head off to articulate why they're having a tantrum. No, that is not the time or place to do that. That's an irrational little person. You simply pick that person up and leave the store. And the same is true of an addict. You're not going to have a rational conversation with an irrational person. But the irrational person and the addiction that causes it is not the only conflict that you have in your marriage. So yesterday's conversation was important for Maz and me because we don't have many disagreements anymore. We don't have many areas where we're out of alignment, where we have to really dig in. When we're talking on our daily doses, we're mostly talking about what we did. It's mostly past tense. But this is very present tense. This is not a solved problem. I want one direction, Maz wants another very different direction. And somehow we have to reconcile that. And it's not lost on me that this morning's sunrise is not a beautiful, peaceful, gorgeously lit shower of warmth and light. It's swirling and confused, and sun's in the wrong spot, and where is the sun? A lot of relationships have moments like this. It would be great if they were all the gorgeous sunrises, but we all know that's not true. So I guess today what I'm thinking is I don't have all the answers. Maz and I don't have all the answers. We're one couple, I'm one person, working through my own garbage, working through our own complexity, sharing it with others. The good, the bad, the ugly, the indifferent, the challenging, the joyful. We're just working through it. And we've invited you to come along. We don't claim to be experts. We certainly don't have any expertise beyond having lived it. But I'm going to continue to do this work. And I'm probably going to continue to feel a little bit like an imposter. Because at the end of the day, I'm just an arts administrator. That's what I know. But I've got I've got nearing on 50 years of lived experience. I've got nearing on 20 years of relationship experience. I've gotten 24 plus years of parenting experience. So in some ways that does make me an expert. I'm not diagnosing anyone. I'm not handing out fake prescriptions. So I just invite you today to be an expert in your own life. You're the only one who's living it. What do you know? What do you know you don't know? Where are the areas of confusion? And where can you trust that there's an answer? And where can you get comfortable with knowing you don't have an answer? This is a funny lessons at sunrise, in part because there's no sunrise. And in part because I'm feeling discombobulated, which is just okay. So look at the sky for a minute, because even in the missing sunlight, it really is beautiful. And then I'll sign off. Have an extraordinary day. Give yourself a break. Give your partner a break. Give your kids a break. Give everybody who needs a break, but mostly give yourself a break. We're all doing the best that we can do with the information that we have in the moment. It's not too bad. I'll see you tomorrow.